There's our cantor. Were you scared to get up and sing? Yeah? Were you scared to get up and read? Yeah? But you guys did anyway, yeah? We can't help when we're afraid. We can only help what we do with that fear, right? Yeah? Today we're going to talk about probably some of the bravest people that you and I will read about in the last 100 or so years. And it comes from Mexico, which was 99% Catholic, literally. 99% of the population of Mexico was Catholic in the early 1900s, but the government wasn't. And in those times, the government made a bunch of laws, and here's what they said. They said, from now on, there's no such thing as Catholic schools. You can't have any Catholic schools. They said, from now on, priests can't wear their clothes, right? My black shirt and pants with a white collar. Yeah, we call those clerics. It's illegal for priests to wear those. Now, in nuns, they can't dress like nuns anymore. And then they took all the property that the church owned and they confiscated it for the government. And they said, no more Catholic church bells. No more masses outside. If you want to have mass, you can have them inside. They made all these rules to make sure that Catholicism, they made their best effort to kill Catholicism in Mexico. And the people went, no. And they refused to cooperate. Now the government had all the guns and all the soldiers. And for the next few years, hundreds of thousands of Mexican Catholics were killed. They believe about 70% of Catholic priests in Mexico were either executed or fled the country. That's how we got so many of our Mexican brothers and sisters here in the U.S. We told them to come here to flee this horrible situation. And there are so many people from that time that we remember. And today, Father Christopher Magallanes is one of them. We don't know all the people who died with him, but it was hundreds. And they died because they refused to not have Mass. Yeah? Amazing people. And we are so terribly grateful to God for them. At some point, the government had killed about 15% of the population of Mexico in this war, and they realized they're not going to give up. And so a treaty was negotiated, and some of the rules were changed. There's still no Catholic schools in Mexico. They're still illegal. It's still illegal for priests or nuns to wear their garments out in public, although that's not always enforced. It's still illegal for the church to own any land except for about 5 inches around the church building. They can own that land. There's still a ton of restrictions, but you know what they got back? The thing they wanted. We want to pray Mass. And we want to pray Mass in freedom. These folks have a lot of amazing things to teach us, yeah? A lot. And we are so grateful. We are grateful, Jesus, for people who are brave. They feel fear, but they still do the right thing. Yeah? And nobody can be fearless unless they're crazy in the head, yeah? Father Christopher, he was scared, but he did the right thing anyway. And he laid down his life for Jesus. Now, I don't think any of us here will ever be in a position where we have to die for Jesus. But we might have to do the thing that can be a little bit harder. We need to live for him. And the way we live for him is by being brave and doing the right thing. Because if we get real good at it on the small things, we'll be good at it in the big ones too. Yeah? So let's practice being brave. Let's practice every day in the littlest things, doing the right thing, even when maybe people will make fun of us or people will say bad things about us. Let's practice anyway. I'm just going to do the right thing. Not because I'm not scared. If I'm not scared, I'm probably crazy, yeah? And we got enough crazy, trust me. I'm going to do the right thing because it's the right thing. I'm going to practice my whole life making sure that it's not my feelings that tell me what's right, but what I believe. And what do we believe? Jesus did this for us, so there isn't anything we wouldn't do for him. Amen?